Hey everyone, welcome back to Nintendo Treehouse live at E3 2019. I'm Audrey. I'm here with Kirk from our publisher and developer relations team, and we have some very special guests with us today. We have Dave for Bonus XP and David from NMS Entertainment, and we're very excited that we're about to take a look at the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance tactics. So let's just dive right into this world, huh?
Right, so David's going to take a look at our character lineup here for our party. Age Resistance Tactics is a turn-based strategy game similar to the turn-based strategy games that you remember from the old school Tactics days. We've got a party of 3 characters here, and we'll go ahead and start our Forked in the Road mission. And we'll come into it, we'll get a little bit of a cinematic feel for what's going to happen. We're going to have some character dialogue. Boggy, our lovable Fizzgig, is in the middle of the road here, and the Chamberlain, trekking back with some Castle Guard Gelflings, is tired and a little bit hungry, so he wants to really try to eat Boggy and capture them.
We can't allow that.
No, we can't. But the Skeksis like to eat a lot of different creatures in the Dark Crystal world.
What is a Fizzgig?
It's kind of a fun little puffball full of teeth and very loud.
Duh.
Very animated.
Whoa.
And I should point out that this game is actually based on the Netflix series that is coming out later this year.
Yeah, so it has what we call Season++. We have the season content is in the game. You can play through those missions. Whether you want to play through exactly like it plays out in the show or you want to pick different characters and play through your own way, you can do that. But we also have a lot of extra content, side quests, arenas, and different things that you can do, even a new game plus mode when you finish the original game, that lets you kind of really dig in and love the world of Thra the way that all the fans do. There's a lot to find and explore in the world. David's kind of waiting for the enemies to make their move here.
Turn-based, of course.
Yeah, we're harkening back to the old school Tactics days, kind of bringing that forward, modernizing it. With this awesome IP that has all this lore that we can dig into, all these creatures that people have seen and some that they haven't. There's so much that the Henson Company has in this franchise. It's actually really fun to dive in and see all the different things that people don't know about.
Now, I saw the last trailer for the Dark Crystal, and I'm terribly excited to play, not only to watch it, but to play this game. What's it like? Oh, so did you actually get to work with Jim Henson's company?
We do, actually.
In conjunction with this game?
So it was a little fireball there that David flew from Florette, one of her special abilities. The Chamberlain's buffing those guys now. But we actually have been out at the Henson Company a couple of times. We've gone to the Creature Workshop. We've actually worked with them to get some of the dimensions from the puppets from the show. That's really one of the great things about this world is they still do so much of it with real puppets, and it's incredibly impressive to see how many people it takes to run some of those puppets in real time. And one fun fact is we actually used that information to change how we build our characters.
It's so cool.
We want the models to look right. We want the animations in particular to feel like they're from the world of the Dark Crystal. And there's a little bit of CG in the new series from Netflix, but so much of it is done with the puppets, and that iconic look is really critical to fans who love the franchise. So we wanted to really capture the way that felt in the game.
Yeah,
Such
it really
a cool
is.
look.
It's a beloved franchise, and seeing that melding of the puppets that we remember from the original movie and modern technology is really, it looks like it's really going to bring that world to life. And to see that detail brought into this game, you folks are really doing a wonderful job.
Yeah, our art team has dived into this with a huge passion, starting from our senior concept artist, Andy Cottenham. And to be honest, this game genre was his idea to do with the Dark Crystal. When we talked about doing it, he said, we have to do a tactics game. And, I guess we had to.
That's cool.
But, the artists have really enjoyed working with this franchise that for a lot of us have loved for 30+ years, and it's fun to be even just a little part of bringing it to life in a way that will extend what people can see on the Netflix series, but also even for people who just love great tactical strategy games, hopefully we can introduce the Dark Crystal to those people too.
That's so cool. So the actual models that you see here in the game are the actual models from the TV series, which is
not
so
the
cool.
actual models. Those are frankly, too high detail because those are made for film. So we're building everything for the game, and we do have to make a few concessions to gameplay. A good example for the purists, they'll note that Boggy, our Fizzgig, is a little bit larger than he would be in the show. If he was the same size as he was in the show, he would be this tiny little dot that you would have a very hard time seeing when you played them. So we're working with the Henson Company to make sure that it's faithful to the original source material, faithful to the things in the new show, and it feels like the Dark Crystal all the way through, even though we obviously have to make some concessions to playability.
Yeah, finding that balance of being true to this original vision, this world that so many people are absolutely in love with, and making an actually playable, enjoyable game is no small feat, but you guys really did a good job, and you can just see the way the characters are moving. It just brings all of that to life.
Yeah, well, the art team will be very happy to hear that. Back when we were talking there, David threw a fireball from Florette, but it worked a little bit differently because of the elevation. So
elevation matters in this.
Yeah, it's actually one of the big critical things. Everybody always wants the high ground, and we certainly want that same thing in our game here. So the elevation changes the way that fireball works. It gives it a bigger area of effect, so you can take out a lot more of the enemy. We've actually defeated the castle guard here, so story-wise, the Chamberlain's going to run off and go to a different area. We'll follow him. This is still very early in development, so we don't have all the bits and pieces in. What we do have, can talk about the job system here. So if we go take a look at Florette's, again, still early UI, not all the content, but one of the things that's very important to fans of this genre is a rich, deep way to upgrade your characters and to really dive in and make them your own. So we were the Sage in the first level we played there, and if you goes down and takes a look at the Bowmaster job, you can see the stat changes there. The Bowmaster gets more hit points, but they have less magic, so they can't do quite as many spells. But the Bowmaster, one of the things that they can do is they can fly. So if you're a fan of the Dark Crystal, you know that all the females in the world of Thra can fly, all the Gelflings can fly. And we've brought that into the game, but this is a good example of how we've gamified the world, because if we let all the females fly all the time, we know that this would be a game full of females, and that's all anybody would want to play. So that's not quite what we want. So we've made that we put that into the job system here. So the Bowmaster is essentially a sniper that can fly. She has that power shot there that has a really cool benefit that's actually not called out on this screen. We'll talk about it a little bit later. And so we'll pick that because the map that we're going to is the quarry. And from taking a look at that picture or knowing that what the level is, it's something that has a lot of height variation, and that the ability to fly will come in handy. So
I'm a big fan of a ranged class, and if I'm ranged and I can fly,
it's over.
You got me.
That's it.
Right?
Well,
that's what I'm playing.
The Bowmaster will be the one that you want to play. So
sweet.
Here's a little in-game cutscene. Again, still working on how this sorts out, but the Chamberlain has captured another Fizzgig, so we need to go save them. We can't let the Fizzgigs die.
It's just not nice.
And one of the castle guards is carrying that off, and we have to catch them and defeat them before they get off the level. So,
okay.
It's a little bit of a turn-based pressure. We don't want to say time, because you can take as long as you want to make your moves. But if we take too many turns, then they'll escape and we'll lose the level.
Oh.
I love the way you set up your levels. It's kind of like a set piece, so users can get a really clear idea of the layout and kind of the objectives. It's really neat.
Yeah, so you've actually stumbled into one of the big debates that we have right now. Like you said, the game is still in development. We certainly would love any feedback from fans, but this is a very honest way to portray the game world.
Sure.
Everything you see, you can move around on. But it's we can put a skybox behind it and expand the level out and make it look a little bit more fully engrossing. But it gets a little bit more hard to play. You don't quite see where the game world ends, and that debate is raging between Bonus and NMAS right now. People on both sides talking about what we want to do and how we want that to look. So he's moved Florette down. She has a new outfit because of her different job. We can take a look at the command wheel there. Up is about movement. To the right, we have attack, and then we have 2 powers at the bottom. As you upgrade the characters, additional abilities will fill in those extra spots, and eventually you'll, if you go all the way with the job, you'll have all 8 slots. You'll be able to do something with those.
I love the ambient animations that are on each of the characters. They're just not like little chess pieces. They actually move around. when
Yeah,
they're not
we
being
call those the
selected.
board animations.
Yeah.
And it's actually one of the fun things that the animators can do to go put a lot of life and energy and personality in the different characters. And it's not entirely apparent, I think, here until you can see some more of the content, but the board animations are actually one of the elements that change out based on the different jobs that you pick. So,
Okay.
yeah, there'll be jobs are primarily for the hardcore strategy folks about the abilities and the stats, but those things are also impacted by the gear that you can equip. There's a gear model in the game. We're not showing that off today, but you can equip different weapons and whatnot. A Netflix show takes place about 100 years before the movie. So when that trailer dropped a couple of weeks ago, it gave people a glimpse into what the show was going to look like and the different Gelfling clans.
Okay.
So there's 7 Gelfling clans. They don't all get along as much as you might like, but each of them has different jobs, different gear that you can equip, and different passive bonuses that the Gelflings and some of the other characters, Fizzgigs for sure. There's another playable class of character that we're not yet ready to talk about, but with those different 3 races, you'll be able to do different things based on where they come from.
That's cool.
And as you mentioned, the game and the show take place 100 years in the past based on the original movie. So it must have been a lot of fun to play in this world that looked so different from what fans have already seen.
Yeah, actually, we've had, like I said, we've been working with the Henson Company and Netflix. We've had the scripts for a while. We've seen all the concept art, a lot of the puppeteer tests and things like that.
We're jealous. Go on.
So we
Totally
knew what was
jealous.
coming, and working on secret projects like this, it's both a blessing and a curse. We've got paper all over the windows of our office, and nobody can come in, and if they do, we have to shut off all the work. But it was really exciting for us to finally have people know what the Dark Crystal world 100 years before the movie looked like, because it's very different.
Right.
It's this verdant, green, lush expanse of all these creatures and all these really cool environmental differences between where the different clans are. And that's something that we'll be able to plumb here and showcase very well in the game.
And I'm sure fans want to know, I mean, if they were to work at Bonus XP, they would already know how the show ends and all the everything that happens.
That is true. We have quite a few NDAs that they have to sign.
Wow.
But we are certainly interested if people are fans of the Dark Crystal. We're also working on some other titles like Stranger Things. They can certainly hit us up, and we're always interested in future people.
I think
All
there's
the more
no
reason.
shortage of Dark Crystal fans.
No, all the more
I
reason to get into game development is to get behind the scenes on your favorite IP.
It's actually been amazing. We don't always have the best perspective, because we're obviously huge fans of the IP and love the movie, and it's been a dream to work on something like this. But it's been incredible to see, even just in the last couple of days since we announced the game, how many people are, Dark Crystal, I'm in, or tactical strategy, I'm in, and this is a double I'm in for a lot of us. So hopefully,
right here.
the things that we love about the world of Thra and the tactical gameplay, that'll come out, and we can create some new fans.
Yeah, and something that's really compelling about this game is that even if you watch the show, if you play this game, you'll get to see scenarios that aren't in the show. You'll get to meet characters, see environments that you wouldn't get to experience just by watching the show. So it's really a great way to either complement the show or just something to experience on its own.
Right. Maybe David will fly down to the bottom there with florets.
Ooh, yeah, let's see her fly.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm actually at my bonus attack right now.
Oh,
so.
okay.
Ooh.
All right.
Oh, don't step on a strategy.
One of Florette's really cool abilities, the one that I mentioned earlier that wasn't shown in the pregame, is that if she gets a crit, she actually gets an extra attack.
Ooh, yeah.
And elevation matters, like we talked about before. So if she gets a crit, or if she's higher elevation, she gets a better chance for a crit. So that actually plays into gameplay, and she can fly, so she can get on top of those boulders that we can move around. She can fly down and get on some of those scaffolding, and she can kind of actually hang herself out in the middle of nowhere if you don't watch it, because she has so much mobility. Some players try to rush down and attack the Gelfling that's carrying the Fizzgig with just florets, and if you're good enough, I think you can pull that off, but most of the time, it's a really cool idea what Dave is doing here, to use Florette as kind of a forward person.
Whoa, that's a nice strike right there.
To come in and clear some people out, and then backfill with Kevin and Boggy there.
Yeah, another cool thing about this game is that the way you interact with the environment is really important with this. Not just the elevations, but we see these boulders here that you can use to your advantage.
Right.
So there's a lot for tactical strategy fans to sink their teeth into.
Yeah, it's so our chief designer is Bruce Shelley from Civilization, Railroad Tycoon. A bunch of the people at Bonus, including myself, worked together at Ensemble Studios with Bruce. And so Bruce always talks about we put a lot in the box. And in the old days, there actually was a box. Nowadays, it's a virtual box. But that philosophy still remains for the types of games that we make. We want a lot of depth in there. And so there isn't just one way to play this level. If David rotates the camera around, we can see those torches up to the top there. They were showing kind of the easy way down that mount, the quarry, but that was filled with guards, right? So you could go down that way, but you're going to have to fight. He's kind of taken the back way down, and you can use some of those boulders to create new paths for your fellow teammates to come down. In the first level that we played, there were those columns, and you can knock those over, and of course they crush everything that they hit, which is fun.
Yeah.
If you knock them over across the river, then that creates a new path that you can go across the river. And we want each of the terrain sets and each of the levels to have all that depth and different ways that you can play. I mentioned the new Game Plus mode, which we aren't quite ready to talk about how that will work in gameplay, but we want something where people can finish the game, and I'm going to go play again, but I'm going to play through this way. I'm going to take my character and get these upgrades, or I'm going to play the levels and try to get all the collectibles. There's a collectible kind of secreted off on the side there, and kind of hard to see unless we scroll over. Yeah, you can see they're guarding that chest over there.
Oh, that's cool.
So there's a really sweet piece of gear in there.
That's something that you don't have to get during normal gameplay.
You don't have to get it.
Leave it alone.
And honestly,
no, you have to get it.
Well,
you're that kind of gamer.
Yeah, we want the completionists to have things that they can
sure.
go get. But it's definitely a harder thing to do. You're taking time and effort from saving the Fizz gig to go get that, and we like those optional objectives. Different ways for people to play, different things for them to do.
Nice shot over there.
Thank you. So Florette's rooted right now. She got hit by the archers, so she's stuck up here for now, just using the bow and arrow.
All that mobility is gone because she's rooted.
So Kevin has this really cool thing called Reckless Blow, where he can take a little bit of damage himself and get an extra attack bonus for his attack. So Boggy just got rooted there by that archer attack as well. And I guess the enemy really doesn't like that boulder. That's the joys of showing a game before it's all the way finished. Is the AI maybe doesn't always
he casts
work.
a spell on them, and he's making the enemy think that the boulder is an enemy.
Yes. Well, it actually that ends up really kind of hurting what we want to do, because now that boulder is much harder to knock into a spot where we can use it.
So maybe it is some sort of strategy Jedi mind trick that they're doing.
Well, I guess if the AIs become sentient, then the programmers will be very happy.
Oh, there's flight.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that obviously that's a really cool feature. We have to balance it.
Right.
So she doesn't have she can't do as many spells. We talked earlier about she has less magic.
Oh, no.
And the Bowmaster is one of the upgraded jobs. You have to work a little bit to unlock that one.
Getting worried about our little friend over there.
I know.
Well, we have a couple of world turns left to go get over there. You can see that the turn order in the top left of the screen.
Oh, right.
Again, still a preliminary display. But as each character moves, they move around in the turn order. We have a really cool feature for people that are very micromanagey. If you don't take your second action, you actually don't use up all of your speed, which is how you get to go next. So if you have extra speed left over, then you can use that to kind of change the turn order if you want. And because you can't walk through enemies and you can use them to block and things like that, that can become very important on some of the later levels. If you're playing on the harder difficulty, for example, to kind of have those very specific tweaks that you make to your turn.
Now, do you have, will the user be able to select a difficulty level out of the gate?
Yes.
Okay, so as you're playing through the campaign, and the campaign, I assume, follows the TV show.
Well, it's as Audrey mentioned earlier, we have all these side quests. So the campaign, if yeah, it has a really cool world map. It's one of been the most fun things to work on is taking the world of Thra and all the different clan areas that are on the map and showing those on the world and unlocking them as you make your way through. You know, the story will snake its way through the world. And then you'll unlock, you know, this side quest, and you can go down there. And if you want to do that, then maybe you'll get a good piece of gear, or maybe you'll unlock a new party member.
Right.
You'll have upwards of 20 different party members that you can unlock, and even a couple that you can sort of make yourself and kind of customize all the way. So you'll be able to follow the TV show. We want people to be able to fulfill those wishes and play the season the way that they want to play it. But we also want to show them all this extra season plus content. Right. You know, this extra things in the world that happen when maybe some characters go sort of off screen and do some things. We'll have a little 2 or 3 mission arc where they can go figure out and play through this thing that happens outside the series. And then also arena levels that you can play repeatedly to kind of level up and use them to unlock new abilities for the characters.
Wow, it's a lot of content, a lot of things to do in
It
this
is
game.
a lot of content.
Yes.
I think one of the reasons that we love gaming so much is being able to immerse yourself in all of these different worlds. And so being able to do that in the world of the Dark Crystal is just something really special. And especially coming from people who clearly love the property.
We've had a lot of fun, and it's been a blast working with Netflix and the Henson Company to bring this to life in a different medium than we're used to seeing the Dark Crystal. And the show I think really presents a much broader view of the world before the events of the movie. And that there's so much there that people will be able to see. And you mentioned the trailer that kind of blew people away with all the stuff that's in there, and it's been a blast. It's hard to keep it all kind of penned up, and you really can't talk about everything
Don't
yet.
try.
Well, to that end, to allay any concerns, this level is not part of the game. We know that the fans are not going to want the show spoiled for them. So as we demo the game before the show comes out, we're using content that we've set aside exclusively to not spoil the series. So we're fans ourselves. We hate when people give away spoilers.
No
so
spoilers.
We don't want to do that ourselves.
Here.
I saw when I saw the trailer for this game. I guess it was Tuesday. I get just sent chills down my spine just because I know of the Dark Crystal. Yes, we won.
Hooray!
I mean, he won.
Good work. Good work. I think we all helped. We encouraged.
Well, I was cheerleading for sure.
Yeah. So the Fizz gig is partying on top of the knocked out Guffling there.
Oh, that's cool.
So the trailer was a great example of how we've worked together with Netflix and the Henson Company.
Gosh.
They actually flew Aughra, who's essentially the Yoda of the Dark Crystal world for people who aren't familiar with it. They flew her puppet over here. And our senior concept artist Andy wrote a really great script for that, and they recorded it. En masse put together this really great reveal trailer that blends the puppetry of the Dark Crystal and shows I think some of the fun gameplay that we're going to get to have. When Aughra comes into the game, that's a special moment.
That's super cool. Like I said, I got chills watching it, and I was just like, okay, it's all coming together, right? Like the show, the game, here we go.
Yeah, we're like kids in a candy store.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Well, the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance Tactics is coming to Nintendo Switch later this year, so we're all...
That's the right way to say it, I think, right?
That is the right way to say it.
Later this year.
We're all looking forward to it, and as you said, the game is still in development, so thank you so much for coming by, Dave, David, and giving us an early look at this game that we are now very, very excited to get our hands on.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah,
of course. Do you have any final words you'd like to say?
If anybody has any feedback, we're happy to take that. It is still in development and something that we're excited to share with the fans. I think we'll be doing some additional reveals before the game comes out, certainly. So let us know what you think.
Great. Well, thanks again for joining us, Kirk. Thank you. And everyone stick around, and thank you so much for sticking with us the last few days. We'll be right back momentarily to see this thing off. Stick around.